In this week, when we observe and celebrate Veterans Day, we're getting a preview of a new landmark coming to the nation's capital that will honor service members, and a Vermonter is a key member of the team behind it. Sculptor Emily Bedard grew up in Milton and now lives and works in New York City. She designed large stone panels that will be installed in a new monument on the National Mall to commemorate Desert Shield and Desert Storm, the operations in 1990 and 1991 that saw coalition forces removing Iraqi forces from Kuwait after Saddam Hussein's army invaded. Our conversation with Bedard started with her telling us how military monuments hold a really special point of pride for her ever since early in her sculpting career when she worked to help restore a Civil War memorial in Connecticut.
They gave me the chance to use my artwork in a way that was giving back to the community, celebrating our country and our veterans. And when I was growing up, I had a love for the military. My father was a veteran in the Navy, and my grandparents were veterans, and my classmates had parents who were veterans who had been in Desert Storm, and it was always of interest to me. For a time, I had wanted to join the military. I wanted to go into the Navy and become a fighter pilot. I decided to go into a career of the arts, but I always had that deep down desire to be doing something of service to my country. When I had that first opportunity to do a Veterans Memorial, I finally got to have that feeling that I was using my talent to give back to the country.
As a sculptor, is having a hand in creating a monument for the National Mall almost equivalent to being an actor performing in an Oscar-winning film?
Absolutely. Yeah, for a sculptor, having a monument on the mall, that's sort of like the highest level of achievement as an American sculptor. That's sort of what you set your sight on. Like Daniel Chester French with the Lincoln Memorial. That's his crowning work that we all know him for. Being able to have that opportunity at such an early part of my career is very exciting and definitely creates kind of a pinch me moment.
Tell me what it's going to be like to know that living people who were in this conflict will be seeing your creation and experiencing it on the National Mall.
That's something that I have thought about a lot. I want them to be able to look at it and see themselves in it. I want the families to be able to visit and see that they themselves or their parents or uncles, children, whoever they were connected with, that they're seeing something on that wall that represents them and reminds them of the service and the sacrifice that they gave to the country. When this memorial was first trying to establish itself and be built, there was a lot of pushback that this conflict didn't deserve a memorial. It was very quick. Nobody remembers it. Why should there be a memorial? Well, I feel that often successful missions are forgotten because they were executed so well. And this is a mission. It was very well planned. The action of it was very smoothly carried out and quick. We got in, we did what we were supposed to do, and we got out. And there was minimal loss of life, and we liberated Kuwait. That needs to be remembered as a model of how to approach future conflicts, if and when they arise. Our sons and daughters in the military, they are giving themselves to the military, and we owe it to them to send them on a mission like this one that is executed so well and so efficiently. They're putting their lives on the line, so we owe it to them to bring them home safely.
Talk to me about what you're going for, what you have created.
So the overall impact we're trying to create with this piece of art, which is this very large format, progressive imagery across this curved wall. So you are meant to experience it by walking along it and taking in this imagery step by step, but also as a large environment. And what we're really going for is to create an emotional impact through this commemorative work to make people feel like they're right there on the ground, leading into the build up, the logistical mission of bringing in the armaments and the air war, and then coming down and landing onto the ground where we then show troops on the ground. Those are our sons and our daughters and our brothers and our fathers who are there on the ground. So it's showing sort of this American strength, this logistical feat of Desert Storm, but also reminding us that we're risking our people in the end. These walls are about 7.5 feet tall. The figures on them are sort of larger than life size. So you're like looking up at them and you're feeling kind of enveloped by this wall. And also what's very interesting about it is the way that the light hits it throughout the day. So it's this like circular format. It's a curved wall. So as the sun travels across it throughout the day, you get this shadow that is constantly changing as it slowly casts across the wall, which I've always felt turns it into more of like an animation almost than a sculpture, because every moment of the day it's going to look different and have different character and level of drama due to the lighting contrast.
I love that you've described that this monument is somehow about logistics, yet is also about human beings.
In the portrayal of ships and aircraft and tanks, I mean, there's always the understanding that there is a human in those armaments. And often I'm working with models who are veterans. So they are wearing the uniforms correctly and holding the guns right and have and move in the way that they were trained. And they often have an expression on their face that is very sort of solemn and very just telling of their personal experience. They're not just actors. There's many panels on this wall that show the desert landscape and the rocky ground and the dust churning up in the wind and the wakes of the ships coming in. And all of those elements create this opportunity to create this swirling emotional pattern that is not necessarily human, but we as humans bring emotion to it. Whether the environment is giving spirit to the figures or the figures are bringing spirit to the environment, most likely the latter, we're able to like pull all of the elements of the artwork together to create this single emotional impact.
Bedard went on to say it is a true honor to continue a tradition of Vermonters contributing to the memorials in the nation's capital. The late Frank Gaylord of Barrie designed the 19 statues for the Korean War Veterans Memorial. That sculptor was widely praised for the accuracy he brought to the uniforms, the equipment, and how he conveyed the difficult weather conditions facing service members in Korea. Frank Gaylord once told the Burlington Free Press seeing those sculptures arrive on the mall was the highlight of his life. Construction on the Desert Shield and Desert Storm Memorial is well underway, and it'll feature creations from another sculptor with close ties to Vermont. Rob Eccleston sculpted an eagle and a falcon for the memorial. These are his clay versions. Ultimately, they'll be cast in stainless steel. The eagle will have a 10.5-foot wingspan and the falcon will have a 7.5-foot wingspan. Before his career in the arts, specializing in memorial sculpting, Eccleston was in the military. His service included work at the Army Mountain Warfare School at the Camp Ethan Allen training site in Jericho. We spoke to him from his studio in Colorado about his work on the birds for the upcoming Desert Shield and Desert Storm Memorial.
The eagle and the falcon represent America's role in a multinational coalition to liberate Kuwait. The United States headed up this coalition, so the eagle is flying along a sculpted desert-like wall, granite wall, soaring in a way that it's leaving the desert. So we wanted to send the message that we are liberators, we weren't occupiers. And the falcon behind it is the national bird. It's a Staker falcon, is the national bird of Kuwait, and it has a more upward trajectory symbolizing its liberation. It was important to the Commission of Fine Arts that that message be told in an allegorical way, as opposed to being like, figurative sculptures of the liberation. It's going to be located on 23rd and Constitution. So in the background is going to be the Lincoln Memorial. One of the mandates from the Commission of Fine Arts is that it not interfere with the sightlines of the Lincoln Memorial. So the kind of the original memorials on the mall and any new memorial that comes after that, we have to pay the utmost respect to the original memorials and not overshadow them. Our memorial is more of a landscape-based memorial. Anything on the mall takes years to do. There's no fast tracking anything that goes on the National Mall, and rightfully so.
As a veteran yourself, what's it like to get to work on a project of this nature?
It's an honor. I kind of sought out to be a memorial sculptor when I started sculpting. I like telling a story, and it's really important that the story be true. I want to tell the story of heroism. When you watch TV or movies, what is considered a hero might not be what a hero is in real life. And if I can tell the story of somebody who acted with valor and honor, during combat, there's no better story that I can think of telling.
What's your hope for how this space will be used? How do you hope people will move around it and experience it?
I want people to walk through the memorial and not only get a sense of the seriousness of the story that we're telling, but notice that it's an uplifting experience. So veterans will come through, they'll be able to see the carvings of experiences that they had during the war, during the buildup and the conflict, and then they'll get to my sculpture, which will depict the liberation of Kuwait, with the American eagle representing the United States and the falcon representing Kuwait. And they can circle around to another wall, which will have all the branches and a wreath carved in representing the different branches of the military. And in the centers, there's going to be a huge water feature that looks like a shield. It's cast in bronze, and it's going to represent the multinational coalition. It will be a place for reflection, but also, celebration.
When you take the politics out of war and defense, you're really left with the men and women as individuals who agree to serve our country. And these memorials honor those individuals.
I think when people join the military, they might join for a myriad of different reasons, but once they're in, they stay in and are willing to fight because of the guy or woman to his left or right. At the end of the day, the most important person to please when making a memorial are the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen themselves. While we know we're not going to please everybody, we try to design a memorial that tells their story in an honorable way so that they're happy. To have a memorial that is dedicated while those people are still alive, they get to see that appreciation.
You're creating a place where those veterans can bring their kids, their grandkids, to tell them about what they did.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the importance of veterans memorials is, it's a place for people to gather, to learn, to tell stories, to meet up with other people that you serve with. I've done quite a few veterans memorials throughout the country, and one of the most rewarding aspects of it are the dedications, just to see the people show up and appreciate not only the memorial, but what the memorial stands for.
The dedication of the Desert Shield and Desert Storm Memorial will take place in 2026. Full details will be released in mid-January by the National Desert Storm Memorial Association. That nonprofit organization has more about the war, its memorial project, and the ongoing fundraising efforts for the construction on its website.